All right, let's start. So as usual, welcome to MKTG 403 Electronic Marketing Essentials. And in this morning's session, being our 5th session, we are going to be covering marketing to the connected customer, right? So last week we learned about e-marketing planning and the process that we go through to develop an e-marketing plan that details the strategy with which we are going to use to deliver our online experiences to our customers. Right? So today we are going to talk about how we are going to tailor make all our tactics to suit marketing to the connected customer. Now, the connected customer has certain unique characteristics that make them significantly different from the regular customers that we know. So in today's session, we will be dissecting how the internet intersects with the offline or traditional marketing that we know, and how it helps us to be able to identify and satisfy the connected customer who exists and is an evolved form of the traditional customer that we know and serve in the offline context. So in today's session, as usual, there are 2 main outcomes we hope to achieve by the end of the session. The first one is to be able to understand the paradoxes of marketing to the connected customer. Like I said, the connected customer is an evolved form of the traditional customer that we know that has technology as part of their toolkit, and it has given them certain capabilities. Therefore, we need to be able to understand the paradoxes that exist in terms of technology and the offline context, and how we can be able to serve the connected customer better, right? And at the end of the session, we will also be able to understand how to create effective digital experiences for connected customers. Because given that they have technology as part of their toolkit or their arsenal, they are looking for certain specific things. They have certain specific expectations, which translate into requirements for us as e-marketers. So we have to be able to ensure that we have understood what they expect and been able to put in place the necessary measures to create digital experiences that meet these expectations to ensure that we can satisfy the needs of the connected customer. So these are the 2 outcomes that we hope to achieve by the end of the session. As usual, you know the house rules. If you have a comment to make, just raise your hand and you'll be given the opportunity to speak. If I ask for a reaction from the class or a response, you can either use the reaction tab in Zoom to register your reaction, or you can unmute yourself and speak briefly, but please remember to mute yourself back again. Okay, so let's get into the lecture. Now, first of all, let's try to dissect who this new customer we are talking about is, right? So in recent times, we are experiencing a new breed of customer, right? One that is the majority, which has emerged globally. Right, so this connected customer that we are dealing with, this new breed of customer that has technology in their arsenal, is not just unique to a particular geographic context or particular region, right? It is a global phenomenon that we are all experiencing, and therefore we have to be able to adjust ourselves to deal with it. Now, the typical new breed of customer is a kind of customer that has certain specific characteristics, right? A majority of them we can observe based on existing research are young. So young here meaning that we can find them in the generational groups of millennials or Generation Z, right? Who are fairly young, were born with technology, have been exposed to technology, and live their daily lives using technology as a major component. Right? They are also generally urban, meaning that they live mostly in the urban areas. They are of middle class status also, meaning that they can be able to afford to buy most of the things that they need to satisfy their needs and wants. And also they have strong mobility, meaning that they are not tied down to one location. They are free to move from place to place, from service provider to service provider, you name it. They are not tied down and they are not static. They are consistently on the move. And finally, what makes this new breed of customer mostly unique is the issue of their connectivity. They have connectivity as part of their arsenal. And this has made them increasingly sophisticated because with connectivity, they have access to internet technology, which gives them a world of information. Right? And this is because of one key characteristic of the internet. What is that characteristic of the internet that gives them all this information at their disposal, which fuels their sophistication? What is that characteristic of the internet? Hello? What is that characteristic of the internet that gives customers access to all manner of information, which we are saying right now fuels their sophistication level? Benedicta?
Information density, madam.
Exactly, information density, right? So with all this information, it makes them sophisticated. Sophisticated in the sense that they know everything that is out there in terms of products and services that can satisfy their needs. And they know which combinations and formulations exist out there that other competitors or service providers or product manufacturers are offering. So it makes them sophisticated in terms of their consumption patterns and what they require to satisfy their needs. So it's not just straightforward and simple to satisfy the connected customer. You need to be able to get to the bottom of their level of sophistication and all the different intricacies that they are looking for in a particular product or service to satisfy their needs. And that is a direct consequence of their connectivity, right? We can also talk about the fact that they have an increasing need to be connected, and this need is insatiable, right? So technically, I can say right now that when we are on our phones, we spend almost 60 to 70% of our time browsing social media or some other website, consuming some kind of information. True or false?
True.
Good. And at any point in time, we are not just looking at our phone. We may be watching TV, right? And holding our phone. So let me give you a scenario. A gentleman may be sitting in his house, sitting in the sofa, watching the Premier League on his interactive digital television. At the same time, he has his cell phone and he's logged onto Twitter, looking at the comments that are coming in and the live feedback that people are posting on Twitter as a result of the match that they are all watching, right? To be able to keep up with conversations concerning the match and also enjoy watching the match as well. And on the other hand, his iPad is on his side in the sofa where he is logged on to some websites and perhaps is doing some purchasing or some shopping on some online merchant site, right? So at this point in time, he's connected on 3 devices, the digital television, the mobile phone, and the iPad, all at the same time. And that is a direct consequence of the increasing need to be connected, right? So the average young person now has at least a laptop and a mobile phone. True or false?
True.
Good. And in extreme cases, they have a mobile phone, a laptop, and a tablet or an iPad, these 3. And to contribute to the level of insatiability all the more, they are always looking to be able to acquire the latest versions of these devices, be it a laptop or tablet or phone, with the most recent level of technology to enhance their level of connectivity. True or false?
Very, very true.
Exactly.
True,
now, this is a direct consequence of the insatiability that we are talking about, the increasing need to be connected, right? At the same time, we can also talk about the need to be connected everywhere and anywhere. And that is a direct reflection of ubiquity, right? So technically, I dare say that we go to bed with our mobile phones and we wake up with our mobile phones. The last thing we look at before we go to sleep is the mobile phone. And the first thing we look at when we wake up is the mobile phone. And it goes with us everywhere, to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the washroom, every particular place that we go to. At least we have our mobile phone with us. True or false?
True.
Right? So this is a direct consequence of ubiquity, which is a direct reflection of the new customer that we have. So as marketers, we need to be able to understand what this means for us in our strategy. Because if your customer has an insatiable need to be connected, it means that you need to be able to reach your customer with communication on any and all of the devices and platforms that the customer is connected on. That is why these days I find it hard to wrap my head around the websites that are still not optimized for multiple devices. You can still open a website today and you open it on your desktop, it's fine. You open it on your mobile phone or your tablet, and then the whole website becomes distorted. It irks me so much. Because in this day of the new customer, you can't afford as an organization to be making such petty mistakes. Do you agree?
Yeah, we agree. Very true.
So in that case, we as marketers need to get to the bottom of who the new customer is. and how we can be able to use the various capabilities and resources available to us to target the offerings that we have to suit them, right? So of the characteristics of the new breed of customer that we talked about, we can confidently say that connectivity is the most important game changer in that equation, because connectivity is what holds all the other things together. That is why the young generation, who we are saying constitutes majority of this new breed of customer, find it easy to be mobile and move from place to place, because they are able to be connected anywhere and everywhere on multiple devices. It is the same connectivity that helps us to be able to talk about the fact that this new breed of customer is mostly in the urban areas, because that is where we are able to find top-notch infrastructure to support their need to be connected, right? And to be consistently connected, you need to be earning some level of income to continuously finance that level of connectedness, including getting all the new devices that give you all the latest technology to stay connected, as well as money to buy data to keep connected. So connectivity, like I'm saying, is the glue that holds all this together, right? And it has changed the way we marketers look at and view our customers. And it has also changed the manner in which our customers behave, because we've established that with their ability to stay connected, they have access to large amounts of information, which has increased their level of power, right? So consumers are no longer just passive receivers of information from marketers like we were doing in the production age, where we just produce and we sell to the customer and they can either take it or leave it. Now it is about meeting the customer at their point of need and involving them in the process of developing specific products and services that are purported to satisfy their needs. So at this point, marketers cannot just sit at one place and segment the market and decide we are targeting this group with this particular offering or value proposition. We now have to look at the segments and look at how we can interact with them and involve them in the production process, such that they can feel a part of what we are producing to serve them, because it is part of what they expect, being the new breed of customer. So in order to succeed, we as marketers need to collaborate with our customers through what we refer to as co-creation. So let's look at some physical manifestations of co-creation, right? The first one we can talk about is the example where we have, and musicians do this a lot, they'll come up with an EP or a number of tracks, and they'll release the tracks into perhaps their brand community, where they engage with their followers or their supporters on social media and say, okay, these are the tracks from the new album. Come up with a title for the album. Has anyone experienced that before? Or has anyone seen it happening?
Yeah, something like that.
Derek, it seems you're the only person responding and retorting to everything I say, but you're not the only person in the class. Where are the others?
Please, we are here.
So has anyone experienced this? Yes or no?
No.
You haven't?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
please.
fun pages.
Derek Binka, this is the first time I'm seeing you in my class ever. Ever. You've never spoken in my class before, and I doubt you've been attending my lectures.
Madam, he has been attending. No.
Patience, why you are his lawyer?
It's because I've seen him several times.
Then Derek, you need to speak up more.
Yes, madam, I'm here for you.
I hear you. Okay, so no one has experienced this, all right, but it happens, perhaps not in our part of the world. Okay, so have you experienced this one too? This is another example using musicians again. They will bring out the tracks, put it in their community, have their supporters listen to the songs. They'll give them the title of the album, and then they'll ask the artists among them to come up with cover art for the album. Have you experienced this one too before?
Yes, madam.
Good.
Yes,
So this is the more popular one. Celestina, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Madam.
Yes, I can hear you.
I was trying to say that I've experienced that before.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Darius says it's mostly common with indie artists. Okay. Okay. That's a good observation, Darius. Right? So we can also talk about co-creation where, okay, Derek Arthur, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, Madam, I was about to say the Malta Guinness one. They also did another one that they made the customers also come up with a cover artist for the packaging of the Malta Guinness, the can one. So
Okay.
right now on the market, you can see that the can one has this kind of graffiti.
Is it the anniversary? Is it the anniversary label?
The one who won, they give the person.
Hello, Derek.
Yes, please. Yes.
Is it the anniversary label you are referring to? Because they said the new label is part of the anniversary set.
Yes, madam.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, it was part. That's what I'm saying. They made their customers engage with it. So they made those who were artists in their customers come up with the designs. And the one who had the nicest design won, and they gave him something. And they used that design on their anniversary.
Good. So that's a typical example of co-creation, right? So thank you, Derek, for that contribution. So we realize that because the customers are involved, they feel a part of the whole process, and they will find it easier advocating for it or supporting it or engaging with whatever content is developed around it because they feel like they were a part of it, right? Kwejo Ajimandria says it happened last year with Lil Uzi Vert's album where he posted 2 cover sets on his IG page for his fans to choose the one he uses for his. Good, right? So that's another typical example of the co-creation. So it's very easy for the customer to latch on to the concept once it is launched because they feel they were involved in the process and they do not feel like passive partakers who are just being sold an idea and it's being shoved at them, right? And we can even see other huge multinationals doing the same thing. Some years back, Starbucks decided that they were going to put the power of their innovation in the hands of their customers. So they set up a whole website dedicated to customer reviews and ideas on how they can innovate their coffee brands that they sell. So customers just went to the website every day and poured their ideas there on what they thought Starbucks could do to make their experience better. And Starbucks to date has not finished implementing all the ideas that the customers were bringing because they were getting so many and the ideas were so good, right? And Starbucks has over the years seen consistent growth as a result because the customers feel like they are part of the brand and their views are important to the brand, right? So thank you for all your wonderful examples and helping us to clarify more the concept of co-creation that happens between we as brands or marketers and the customers that we serve, particularly the new breed of customer. So what is connectivity? Connectivity as a term basically refers to the way people are hooked up to the internet. And it may include dial-up telephone lines, which people do not use much of these days. And then the always-on broadband connections, which we have a lot of. And then the wireless devices, which we use day in, day out in real time, right? But currently in the digital space, regardless of how broadly and widely the internet has spread and how accessibility and connectivity has improved, there are still people who are connected but are not connected in a manner that gives them the power and the advantages that digital technology offers, right? So currently in the digital space where we are pushing for more equality in terms of access and in terms of access based on gender, we are pushing for meaningful connectivity where it is not just enough to have the connection, right? So when we talk of meaningful connectivity, we are talking about having access to the internet, not only at some times of the day or some days in the week, but to have internet access every day. And to be able to do so on an appropriate device, because currently we still have areas, even including in Ghana here, where there is infrastructure for internet connectivity, but the people there do not have the appropriate devices to access it. So it's not just enough to have internet every day, any day. You also need to have the appropriate device to access it on, right? So there are people that are currently still using the YAM phones. There are lots of people who still don't have smartphones that can give them access to the internet, even though the infrastructure is in place. So with meaningful connectivity, we are saying it's not just about getting access to the internet, it's also being able to access it on an appropriate device. And finally, you need to be able to also have enough data to access it and have a fast connection. Because let's face it, I struggle with my internet connection every day. Even though I am able to have access to the internet, I have the device to access it and I have enough data, sometimes the connection is terrible. I have been teaching in part of last week and this week where the connection has just gone off. And I'm sure every day you people have to struggle with it in terms of going on and off in your lectures because of unstable connection. So it is not enough to have the internet every day, any day. And it's not enough to be able to access it on an appropriate device. You need to be able to have access to enough data to use it and have good, reliable, fast internet connectivity. So when we talk about connectivity for customers, our aim currently in the digital space is to push for meaningful connectivity, right? So that is just a concept and some food for thought in terms of ways in which we can be able to achieve this moving forward. However, regardless of the challenges we have and the setbacks we have encountered in achieving meaningful connectivity, we still have customers who are somewhat connected. So the connection may be poor, but sometimes they get access and they are able to use it to perform certain transactions and be able to engage in specific activities. So now that we know what connectivity is about, given that we are e-marketers, how can we be able to know the various levels of connectivity at which we can connect with the new breed of customer? Now, to fully embrace connectivity and how it has changed our world as marketers, we can look at it holistically in terms of three main levels, right? Starting from the base level to the top. So at the base level, we have what we refer to as mobile connectivity. And this is connectivity primarily through mobile devices, right? And it's the most basic level of connectivity in which the internet serves mainly as a communications infrastructure. So currently we have people who are connected, but they are only connected via their mobile phones. So they do not have any tablet, they do not have a laptop, but they do everything on the mobile phone, from making calls, making payments to their suppliers if they are businesses, making payments to for everyday transactions, buying items. They do everything using their mobile phone, right? And that is mobile connectivity. So as e-marketers, we need to be cognizant of the fact that there are some customers who are stuck at this level. And that is why when I see a brand that does not have a mobile optimized website, I get upset, because it's almost like you are cutting out a whole segment of the market that can only access your online services using their mobile phones. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, madam.
So mobile connectivity is a level at which we can find a certain segment of customers, and they do not have the affordances that those at the other levels have, right? So moving up from mobile connectivity, we have what we refer to as experiential connectivity. And this is the next level above mobile connectivity, where the internet is used to deliver superior customer experience in touch points between the customers and the brand, right? So when we were discussing the 5S model, we talked about the fact that the internet enables us to deliver superior customer experience using various touch points before the sale, during the sale, and after the sale. And we gave examples. So very quickly, how can we use connectivity or the internet to enhance or deliver superior customer experience before the sale? Hello? Derek, can you answer this one? Derek, give me one point on this one, and then Juliana will give us another. Derek, go ahead. How can we use internet to give superior customer experience before we make the sale or prior to the sale? Yeah.
Okay. So what I was thinking is if they can, like you said in the earlier on point, like the mobile connectivity, if they can make their platform accessible to more devices other than the mobile connectivity, I think it will help.
Good. That's an excellent way to do it, right? So superior customer experience prior to the sale, even before they become your customer, you've already optimized your site. So if they are accessing it through their mobile phone or their laptop or their tablet, they are still getting the experience that all the other people are getting, because the site is optimized to support all these devices. So thank you, Derek. That is an excellent point. Right, Juliana, go ahead.
Okay, madam. So for some apps or there are systems that you can use to track when a customer or a customer visits your site or your page. So when you see that a customer visits your page, you can send them a direct message or a mail to check up on them and give them more information about your products or services, so that it will entice them to want to buy or purchase your product or service.
Okay, good. That's another excellent point, right? So based on what Juliana has just said, we talked about the race framework, remember? At what level of the race framework is Juliana's point hovering? At what level of the race framework can we find the points that Juliana just made? Yes, Cassandra.
The first point, that's reach.
Are you sure? Because here she's saying that they have come to our page and they've left information. Reach is where we are trying to get them to
interact.
Good, interact. Right? So here we are trying to get them to take the plunge. So good job, Cassandra. Patience agrees with you, by the way. Okay, so we have other people also talking about advertisements. When you say advertisements is a blanket statement which can refer to advertising both offline and online. So what kind of advertisement are you talking about that we can use the internet to deliver as part of superior customer experience? All right, so those saying advertisements, answer. Online advertisements. Online advertisements is another blanket statement. We have various forms of it. So Nadia, specifically, what form of online advertisement? Nadia.
Yes, madam.
So specifically, what form of online advertisement?
Maybe social media advertisement.
Okay, so that's a good one, right? And Juliana agrees with you on that. Juliana also says social media advertising. Okay, right, so that is before the sale. What about during the sale? Marlon, during the sale.
Madam, please, I wanted to touch on the reference to.
Yes, but you can also answer this one during the sale because you were in class.
Okay. During the sale, I'll say affiliate marketing. And
are you sure?
For affiliate marketing like this,
affiliate marketing is prior to the sale, not during.
Oh, okay.
Because affiliates are supposed to help drive traffic.
Yeah, okay. Payments, like online payment.
Good. So online payment options like mobile money and debit cards and credit cards from different sources, be it Visa, MasterCard.
Yeah, online. Yeah, and PayPal, like through PayPal.
And PayPal, good.
Wesley.
Good. Yeah. Well done, Marlon. Right, and Nadia agrees with
Thanks.
you in terms of the online payment systems. Juliana, go ahead.
All right.
Okay, madam, you can also talk about the delivery systems. So they must make the delivery easy, fast, and accessible to all during the sales.
During the sale. Delivery is after they have delivery is after they have paid for and done everything.
Okay.
So during the sale, right? Once you have sold to them, what can you do during the sale? Because delivery is like after you've sold to them. So think about it, Juliana, and come back.
Yes, madam.
Okay. So anyone else for during the sale? We've got the payments options, right? The online payment systems. Give us another one and then we'll move on to after. Yes, Sandra.
How about discounts during the sale?
Yeah. A lot of organizations will tell you if you buy from our website, you get a 10% discount or a 20% discount. But if you buy from our physical shop, you lose the discount, right? So you're right, Sandra. Good point. Benedicta agrees with you. Right, so that's during the sale. Now, after the sale, that's where Juliana's point comes in, right? Any other points on after the sale? Benedicta.
Yes, madam. So there can be reviews. You can take reviews from customers on how effective your product was to them.
Okay. Certain customers enjoy sharing their experiences, especially in the presence of other customers on brand communities. So you can give them the option to do so, and that enhances their experience. So well done, Benedicta. Cassandra, come in.
Madam, you can also do order tracking.
Order tracking, exactly. And Christabel and Nadia agree with you. So they can be able to track the order after they have purchased it and be able to see how the order is moving through the various stops until it actually gets to them, right? Darius also agrees, saying that tracking notifications on delivery status, exactly, right? Khadija says user training as one of the after sales options for marketers to enhance customer experience, right? So Khadija, can you throw more light on the user training? And after that, we'll take Baba for, and then we move on.
All right, ma'am. Please, user training, maybe there are some electronics that maybe a consumer purchased online.
Good.
Yeah. So maybe you can, after the purchase of that electronic device, you can make a short video or something to educate the consumer on how to use that specific product.
Good. Well done, Khadija. That's an excellent point. All right, so Baba, you have the floor. Then we'll address something that Joachim just said.
Yeah, madam, free delivery.
Free delivery. Yeah.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, some people offer free delivery if you purchase online. So that's another good point. Cassandra, go ahead.
Madam, please see this online company, that's ZOZOSUIT, that you can measure your feet and maybe your dress size.
Yeah.
Please, that one, yes, please. Please, that particular one, I was thinking it can fall because someone can measure his or her feet size and buy immediately, or some people too can measure and they won't buy. So can that one fall under pre-sale and sale dimension?
Yes. Because pre-sale, like you are saying, they can use the mat to take their foot measurements, right? So I don't know the correct size to buy.
Yes, please.
Good. And knowing your correct size means that during the sale, it will minimize your options of having to buy a shoe that does not fit. So you'll be able to determine what your actual size is. So you're right, pre-sale and during the sale. The ZOZOSUIT is a good example. Okay, so let's take a few of the comments. Before we go ahead, Joachim says, sometimes these reviews are lies. Yes, and Amazon, being the world's largest retailer, is suffering from this concept, which we refer to as fake reviews. It's actually a problem that marketers are struggling to grapple with. So I think there is a video that I have. I don't know if it is for your class. Let me quickly confirm. Those who have gone through the course outline, do you see it in your course outline? It's a video case called Amazon's Fake Reviewer Problem. I'm checking your course outline now. Okay, no, it's not in your course outline. But there's a video I have on it. I think I use it to teach. It's not in your class, maybe in another one of my classes, right? But it's a whole phenomenon. Perhaps I'll have to introduce it to you in one of our classes so that you can watch it, and then we can all understand the concept and how currently marketers are trying to deal with the problem. So Joachim, let's see how that goes, okay? But you're right, some of these reviews are lies. Right, so Kevin says live order tracking, free delivery. Rebecca says help desk and technical support, good. So 24/7 help desk and technical support can be offered through the internet. Then Seth says discount on referrals. Okay, using affiliate links perhaps. And then Darius says warranties and replacements. Okay, if you bought through the online medium, that is also plausible. And then Sarkodia says the company also normally uses websites to channel frequently asked questions. So frequently asked questions usually help during the sale and before the sale. But after the sale, it could help perhaps in terms of how to use the product, right? But it's mainly applicable during the sale and before the sale. As Khadija says, giving warranties. Ifya Pokua, return of goods. Derek says free installation. Okay. But Daria says also we can consider upgrades, for example, the OTA upgrading strategy by Apple for iOS. Yes, so upgrades. That's another good example, especially with the technological devices, because then you get to be able to upgrade to the latest software without actually physically showing up, and they just use the internet to do that automatically. So yes, that's a good example, Darius. And Marcel, you said DIY ideas. It depends on the product you're talking about or the service that you're consuming, because if it is a service, then I don't know how the DIY will come in. But perhaps if it's a product, they can give you some DIYs on how to use the product to do various things. Okay, so Charles Ofori says rating. Okay, that's also an element of experience. They get to rate the consumption experience that they had. Then Michael says customer care. Yeah, so 24 hours help and support desk activities can be offered over the internet, and that is part of customer care. So Michael AJ, you can say that. Juliana, I said money back guarantee. That's a bit more complicated. That's a bit more complicated. Okay, so Darius, you said what? OTA is over the air for those asking in my DMs. Okay, it's just like a software update. Please, are we there? It's like a software update, right? So you just tap on your phone, if it's an Android, right? You go to the phone's characteristics, you click on check for updates. It tells you there's an update. You click on it, it will download and install automatically. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, madam.
Good. So when you buy the phone, it does not stay at the old operating system, right? It upgrades periodically to make sure that your phone is up to date and you are able to enjoy the new features that have been developed for the phone and then for the technologies that are applicable to your phone. Right? Derek says buyback or swap offers. Okay, so all those are plausible. So good. Now we understand the concept of experiential connectivity and how we as marketers can take advantage of it to deliver superior customer experience, right? And then the next level above experiential connectivity is social connectivity, which we have all come to know and love, right? And this thrives on the social network technology that we are all so familiar with. It thrives on the strength of the connection of the communities that are built through these networks and how customers interact with each other over these networks. So we know that a lot of firms are now taking advantage of social connectivity. They are positioning themselves on all the major social networking platforms. They are even trying their best to ensure that they engage with their customers on these platforms. So not just about having a presence, but also engaging with customers. So as e-marketers, we need to be cognizant of all these levels of connectivity and the various customer segments that are at these various levels of connectivity. Because depending on the group of customers who are there, you need to develop a strategy that can help you to be able to target them effectively. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, madam.
Good.
Yes, please.
Okay. So now that we have understood the levels of connectivity, let's go straight into the paradoxes of marketing to the connected customer. Remember in the beginning, I talked about the fact that the online medium has come to behave in some way as a buffer to the traditional offline marketing that we have been conducting. And with the introduction of the online medium did not mean that we had totally ceased all manner of offline marketing activity. They are also still going on, and therefore both forms of marketing are coexisting. That is why our e-marketing plan is a subset of the overall marketing plan and takes its inspiration from it. So with the interplay of these two forms of marketing, both offline and online, come certain paradoxes that we as marketers need to appreciate and understand if we are to serve our customers well. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, madam.
So we are going to go through these paradoxes. The first paradox we can talk about is the paradox of online interaction versus offline interaction, right? Now, the impact of connectivity with regard to online and offline businesses is not clear-cut because, like I said, One did not come to replace the other. At best, one serves as a buffer for the other. So while online businesses have taken up a significant portion of the market that we currently operate in, they cannot completely replace the offline business that we have been doing prior to that. So in that case, as marketers, we need to be able to ask ourselves what the future lies in terms of how we can comprehensively, right, and synergistically use both online and offline experiences across the customer path to ensure that we have given them the level of satisfaction that they expect or require, right? And this can be seamlessly done because technology touches not just the online world, but also the offline physical space, as we will experience very soon by various innovations that are being introduced that help to converge both the online and physical spaces in terms of marketing activities and creating compelling customer experiences. So we as e-marketers, on the basis of this, must understand that our strategy must incorporate elements of both online interaction and offline interaction to ensure that we can engage and have the attention of almost all the segments of customers that we serve, so that we can be able to make sure that our communications with them are consistent and they are being focused towards the objectives that we hope to achieve, be it through the offline medium or the online medium, right? So that is why we have circumstances where someone will initiate a purchase transaction online and complete it offline. If you want to buy a car from Carvana, which is a solely online business, you have to be able to do the purchase, fill all the paperwork, provide all your evidence online. And the only thing you have to do is to go to the offline vending machine and pick up your car using your token. So with regard to specific sectors, there is no way we can do away with the offline element of the whole process of marketing. And that is why we are saying online interaction and offline interaction must converge. So let's look at a typical example of this. Now, Apple created what we refer to as the iBeacon transmitters. So the iBeacon transmitters are basically wireless transmitters that are placed in specific retail locations. So if, for instance, you shop at Macy's, or you shop at ShopRite, or you shop at UK Brands, or Jet, or Mr. Price, they place these transmitted beacons in vantage positions within the shop. And then because you shop from these locations, you should have installed the application of this shop on your phone. So once you walk into the shop and your phone is on, it automatically wirelessly connects to the iBeacon transmitter. And then it starts to alert you with highly targeted offerings that are available in the location that you're currently in. So if you walk into Mr. Price with your iPhone and the app for Mr. Price is installed on your phone and there's an iBeacon in there, the iBeacon will immediately start looking for offers within the shop and start pushing them at you in a targeted manner, such that if, again, here we can experience an application of AI. If based on your history and your behavior in using the app, you search a specific kind of product, the iBeacon using the app on your phone together with AI can be able to determine what offers will be most relevant to you. So if on the app you are noted for browsing more of shoes and bags, when you enter Mr. Price, the iBeacon transmitter will start sending you highly targeted offerings relating to shoes and bags, right? So you'll be in the shop and you'll get an alert on your phone that says, in aisle so and so, there's an offer on perhaps this type of shoe for this amount of money. Please don't unmute yourself if you are not speaking or have not been given the floor to speak. We do not want to hear your conversations, please. We are here to have a lecture. Okay, so like I was saying, the iBeacon transmitter combines both offline and online interaction by getting you to get highly targeted offerings online while you are physically present in the store or location where these items can be purchased. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, madam.
Good.
Yes, please.
So this is a typical example of how online and offline interaction can converge to deliver a superior customer experience, right? We can also talk about the ZOZOSUIT. Someone mentioned the ZOZOMAT earlier, right? And it's a typical example of how online interaction and offline interaction converge to help us e-marketers deliver superior customer experience to the connected customer. So for the ZOZOSUIT, you have to actually physically obtain and wear the ZOZOSUIT. And once you wear it, using the installed ZOZOSUIT app on your phone, you can be able to use it to take a picture of yourself physically. And whilst you're taking the picture, using the different points or dots that have been indicated on the outfits you are wearing, which is the ZOZOSUIT, you can be able to take your dimensions from neck to ankle. So again, this is another example of how online interaction and offline interaction can be seamlessly converged to help us deliver superior customer experience. Please, does it make sense?
Yes, madam.
Please.
Moving on, we can talk about the second paradox. Darius, you said we can use the QR codes too. Yes, so currently they are piloting the Ghana QR code that you can use to be able to purchase items anywhere, be it in the marketplace, in a shop, anywhere you find yourself at all. Once you have the app installed and the seller you're buying from also has their end of the app installed, you can use the Ghana QR code, right? So good example, Darius. So let's move on to the second paradox, right? So paradox 2 is about the interaction between the informed customer and the distracted customer, right? So today we talked about the fact that customers are very powerful because they have a lot of information at their disposal by virtue of the fact that they are connected to the internet, right? And by this connection to the internet, they are able to make informed purchase decisions by obtaining information through our marketing communications online, right? Or offline, be it using televisions, print ads, public relations campaigns, banner ads, pay-per-click adverts, or referral links, right? They can also get this information from the opinions of their family and friends, which they can obtain both offline and online, right? Online, they can do so mainly through brand communities and review platforms where customers and consumers are free to share their experiences and what they know about various brands and how people can have maximum benefits through their consumption, right? Also, they have this information by virtue of their own personal knowledge and attitudes. Consumers do a lot of research when it comes to their consumption habits. So with all this information, the customer is able to determine whether or not the product or service your brand is offering is best suited to satisfy their needs. But with this huge amount of information come what we refer to as distractions. Because the customer is getting all this information from all these sources, including other family and friends, brand community participants, their own research that they are doing, the brand's paid, earned, and owned communication. All of these are coming to the customer at once on all the multiple devices that they are connected on, be it their mobile phone, their laptop, their tablet, or their desktop, right? So this information overload, like from all these sources and all these devices, hampers the customer's ability to focus. And when the customer cannot focus, they cannot be able to objectively determine which source of information is the best to rely on, right? That is why we find out that in terms of marketing, customers prefer mostly to hear about products or services and whether or not they are good for them from other customers whom they believe to be a more reliable and credible source than the brand itself. So what can we as marketers do to enhance the information available to customers, but also minimize the distractions? We as marketers can be able to win customer attention by creating brand conversations in customer communities, engage them with discussion, and get other members of the community involved. Because remember, we talked about the fact that they view these other sources, being other community members and their shared experiences, as more credible than that of the brand. So start a conversation online in these brand communities or on your social media platform and get other community members to chime in and engage in a discussion and a conversation, which will help to create a conversation around your brand and will be more authentic to the customer and provide them with the information you wish they have to make you number one on their list if they decide to purchase a product or service in your category. At the same time, to minimize the distractions, right? You as a brand need to sizzle. Remember, we talked about the 5S model and how brands can use the internet to sizzle. Please, do we remember?
Yes, madam.
Good.
Yes, madam.
So we sizzle by creating compelling brand experiences, building unique online platforms, creating unique online processes that are not offered by every competitor that we have, right? This will be able to help us to make sure that amidst all the distractions, we stand out and we have the wow factor that will make the customer listen to us. And if we are able to earn the customer's trust through creating these conversations and creating these wow factors, we can be able to convert the customers into not just buyers of our product or service, but also to help them to become advocates for our brand. And remember, we talked about the fact that we want customers to become loyal and advocate for the brand. Those who do ECCM, do you remember the concept of the terrorist customer and the apostle customer? Where are my ECCM students?
Yes, please.
Good, right? So in this case, we want advocates who are apostles rather than terrorists. So for those of you who do not know what we are talking about, we have a continuum when it comes to customer loyalty. And the more satisfied the customer is, right, the closer they are to the point of becoming an apostle for your brand. And the less satisfied they are, the closer they are to becoming a terrorist to your brand. So a typical terrorist customer is the one that will go on an online rampage, bad-mouthing the brand and encouraging other people to badmouth and cancel the brand. Hence, the phenomenon we are experiencing now called cancel culture. They are as a result of terrorist customers, right? But if your customer is an apostle, they defend your brand, they buy from your brand, and they stay loyal to your brand for an extended period of time. So here, as e-marketers, by increasing the level of information, right? And here, I dare say we are talking about targeted information because we don't just want to overload the customer with information that is irrelevant. So it's about targeted information that is from a credible source, right? And minimizing the distractions that they face when it comes to purchasing online. And that way we can be able to harness the effects of the paradox of the informed customer versus the distracted customer to create more of loyal advocates for our brand and the products and services that we offer. So that's it for paradox 2, right? The third paradox we can talk about is negative advocacy versus positive advocacy. And this flows directly from what we talked about using the informed customer versus the distracted customer phenomenon to turn our customers into advocates. Now, it is not just enough to have customers always expressing their opinions in a positive manner and supporting your brand, right? We need to be able to create the perfect environment to have a good balance between positive advocacy and negative advocacy. Because if you have positive advocacy all the time, it is very easy for users or prospective customers and current customers to begin to see some of these advocates as fake reviewers or fake commentators. It doesn't look credible if all you get is positive feedback, because regardless of how perfect you are at your marketing or how good you are at delivering superior customer experience, there will always be that odd 1 or 2 customer or 1 or 2 users who are unhappy with what you do. So you need to be able to create an environment where there will be a good blend between positive advocacy and negative advocacy, right? Because it is only by having negative advocacy that you can be able to trigger positive advocacy. I have seen on social media several times where celebrities have had people come for them on their own pages, and their followers have gone after these people, vehemently defending said celebrity and advocating for them, right? And this is an authentic, generic form of conversation that we expect to happen in terms of marketing and branding in the online medium. So we cannot have positive advocacy without negative advocacy. As e-marketers, we need to create the environment to have a good blend of those. And that is why I do not encourage brands and celebrities, as well as those who have online platforms, to be blocking users, especially users who are very critical of your brand. Because perhaps in their level of being critical, you can be able to bring out the positive advocates in your fan base. and also perhaps be able to learn a thing or two about how you can be able to improve your brand as a whole, right? So marketers must work at building an army of advocates who are willing to guard the brand in the digital world. But they should also create the avenue for people who share a tangential opinion or an opposite opinion to have a platform to also express their views, because it is in this authentic exchange of positive and negative advocates that we are able to create an authentic brand, a brand that is believable and trustworthy, right? Because perfection is not believable, especially when it comes to branding and marketing. Daria says SM fans. I don't even follow them online, but what I've seen offline, I know they can be very radical when it comes to, to their leaders. So I can relate. Judah NT says BBN fans. Yeah, I've heard the BBN fans too are very, very hardcore. I've seen on social media how they've been buying expensive gifts like Range Rovers and Mercedes Benzes for their leaders. So I can understand where the BBN fans are coming from. Derek says it even brings attention to the post. Yeah, because someone may post a positive comment about your brand and no one will care. But the moment someone posts something negative, right? Negative news always trends faster than positive news. Who has heard that saying before?
It's true, madam.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very true.
Yeah. So once the negative starts trending, people start following, right? That is how come we are able to see that someone said something negative and people came up and came to defend.
Yeah, the negative that brings the trends.
Exactly. Right? So you need to create a healthy environment for both to exist, so that you can be able to be trustworthy and believable among your prospective and current customers. So Lati Maxwell says that's why some of them plan something for it to just trend, so they get attention. Negative gets the most attention, but Shira Ade says, okay, so I guess that underpins the discussion that we just had. So these are the three main paradoxes we can talk about when it comes to connectivity and how it affects our activities as e-marketers. We can't let the paradoxes that are created hamper our strategy formulation and the drive to achieve the objectives we set for ourselves. Because the moment that happens, it means that we are losing out, because we know the competitors are lying in wait, watching, and the new entrants consistently keep coming in. So we can't afford to be lagging. We always have to be ahead. And that involves putting in place measures and tactics to take advantage of these various paradoxes that are created to serve the connected customer with the best form of experience imaginable, right? So now that we understand the paradoxes, how do we create effective digital customer experiences? We can start by using what we refer to as the 6 C's of customer motivation, right? Because you cannot even begin to satisfy the customer without knowing what their expectations are, without knowing what their motivations for using the online platform are. So as e-marketers, to be able to understand how to create the best experiences on the online medium or over the internet, we need to understand the customer's motivations for using the online medium to access whatever product or service there is that we are selling as a brand. So we'll take the 6 C's of customer motivation one after the other, and we will explain them, starting from the first C, which has to do with content, right? Customers come online experiencing to get relevant content. So we always say that content is king. So if you are a brand and you are online and your page is dormant, you do not post relevant content, you do not post updated content, you do not post relevant content. In this case, we are talking about information, right? That gives customers in-depth knowledge about the products that you sell, how to use those products, the buying process, and what they have to go through to be able to get your product to consume. Your page becomes dormant and boring. Content is king. And the more you update your content, the more relevant your brand stays in the minds of the consumer, because they always know to expect something from you. They always know what next to look out for. So we as marketers engage in what we refer to as content management, which we will discuss a bit more about later on. But it's not just enough to say you are posting content. Content actually has to be planned and strategized to be able to ensure that you are consistent with your creation and delivery of relevant content to your user base, be it your potential or your current customers, right? But it's not just enough to deliver content consistently. Like I said, content has to be planned and strategized. So in planning and strategizing your content delivery, you need to think about the context. Because depending on the customer base that you are targeting with your content, it has to take a particular style and form. So you realize that a brand will decide that we are creating content for a certain age group. And they'll start asking themselves where they can actually find this age group to be able to deliver this content and what form this content must take. Currently, Gen Z and millennials are more into video-based content. True or false? True or false?
We have no idea of the Gen Z.
You are Gen Z, Derek. So Gen Z are the customer base that are born from 1997 to date.
Okay.
So that is Gen Z or Gen Z. And then the millennials are those who were born from 1996 to I think 1979, thereabouts, right?
Okay.
Those are the millennials, right? So between Gen Z and the millennials, they are more into video-based content. True or false?
Oh, very true. Very true.
So if you are targeting them, you need to put the content in a form that they will appreciate and in the right context. So if you are giving them these videos, then what are some of the best platforms to use? What are the best platforms to send this content? Cassandra?
YouTube and Instagram.
YouTube and Instagram.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Facebook, Juliana, which one? Twitter, yeah, Twitter.
Facebook.
Right? And there's one you've left out, a whole platform built around video content.
TikTok.
Right? So the context is also very important, because if you do not put the right content in a relevant context, it may never get to the customer segments that you are targeting, right? So you need to personalize the content to suit the segment you are targeting and put it in the right medium, right, or context for it to achieve relevance to this particular customer segment. So that is it for content, right? Next, we need to talk about customization, right? And here we experience customization in all manner of forms, because customers come to the connected experience looking for a high degree of customization and personalization. So we observe that as e-marketers, mass customization of content helps us to deliver personalized content that may be viewed as a web page on a website or an email alert or any other means by which we can personalize content to suit our customers, to be able to keep them happy and deliver superior customer experiences. So for instance, let's use banking as an example, right? You go to your bank's website and there's a general page that everybody can consume. But then you can access more customized content when you go in to log on with your unique username and password, and you go to a page that is specifically designed and targeted to you. It identifies you by your name. It presents you with your account information, all done in a personalized manner that is suited to only you. True or false?
Very, very true.
Yeah. And that is only possible through the online medium, right? Because you can't walk into a shop, a banking hall, and say you want personalized attention. It's not done. You have to join the queue like everybody else. And when it gets to your turn, they will attend to you. Right? We can also talk about the email alerts that they send to us. I believe every month they send you an alert giving you your account information and your balance information and all that. And to ensure that it's personalized to you, it comes to your email address with a unique passcode that only you can use to access it. True or false?
Yeah.
Good.
True.
So these are all elements of customization and personalization, right? And this is not only limited to services, it's also limited to physical products. Darius, priority banking is not personalized to an individual, it's personalized to a particular segment, right? And it's done primarily offline. Good. So for priority banking, you have to go to the banking hall, then you are ushered to the priority section, and then you sit there and then they attend to you using your services, asking for the service that you require, and then they attend to you accordingly. But using our online platform or the mobile app, everybody is a priority customer because everything is personalized to suit you. The only difference is that they do not give you the cup of coffee that you would have got if you had gone into the priority section in the main banking hall. Right? So Sakai, yes, Sakai is also personalized and customized. Good. MIS Web, personalized and customized. Good example, Leila. And good example, Benedicta. Right? Okay. So like I said, this personalization and customization is not just limited to services. It's also applicable to physical products, right? So let's look at a typical example of how we can personalize a physical product. I know a very common one is in Ghana is the personalization of the phone cases, right? Who has used that phone case personalization service before? You go online, yeah, you personalize it. You can use your picture. You can select whatever picture you want to put on the case. Then you order it and then they ship it to you.
Yeah.
Good. Now let's look at one that actually has to do with one of the known brands that I really like. And this is Nike, right? And it used to be called Nike ID, but they upgraded it to make the experience better. And the new name for it is Nike by You. I don't know if anyone has heard about it. Has anyone heard about Nike by You?
No.
Okay, so we are going to experience Nike by You right now.
Yes.
Who said yes? Who said yes? Who said yes?
Oh, the yes is running.
Okay. Barbafo. Okay, how did you experience it, Baba?
Is it the bar we know?
Madam, I saw it on their Instagram page that, like, let's say if the Nike sneaker you want, how you want the design, how you want them to design it, you just send them the picture and it will be done for you.
Oh, you send them the picture. Oh no, they've upgraded beyond that level now. But right now you don't even have to send the picture. They've customized and personalized it. So we are going to customize and personalize our own Nike sneaker right now.
Wow.
Darius says Cowbank was rolling out customized ATM cards. Yeah, StanChart also does that. So my ATM card is customized. It has my name engraved on it in gold. It's really cute. With my title and everything. Yeah, the personalization is on a different level. Though. And when I go into my mobile banking app, I can see all my debit cards and their serial numbers all in one location. Pardon?
The customized ones too.
Yes, the customized ones, all of them.
Wow.
And you can actually tell them what name to write on the card.
Yeah. Different level.
Different level, you see. It's the superior customer experience we are talking about. And they're doing all this electronically.
Wow.
Right? Okay, so can we see the screen? We're going to customize our Nike sneaker right now.
Oh.
So we have new releases, men, women, kids, and then customize. So let's go to customize. Under customize, we have new and featured men's and women's, right? So let's look at the new and featured section. You can do Air Max by You, right? I love Air Maxes, by the way. So you can do Air Max by You, Blazer by You, Basketball by You, and then Nike by You new releases, right? So which one do we do? Should we customize an Air Max or a Blazer or a
Nike by You new releases?
Air Max. Air Max.
Air Max.
Air Max.
Okay, so I believe the Air Maxes have it. So let's do Air Max by You. Okay, so this is the Air Max by You page, right? And even here, there's a next level of customization such that you can customize some generally, like the way everybody does, or there are some customizations of certain sneakers that are limited to members only. So please, can you see this particular sneaker?
Yes.
You can only access it if you're a member. That's the Nike Air Max 95 3M. You can only customize it if you are a member of the page.
Oh, okay.
That's another level of customization, right? But the ones that say customize, it means it's general to everybody. You can customize on the website generally. You don't need special access to do so. The only difference here is that the site is only available in specific locations. So this is the US site.
Oh, okay.
In certain parts of the world, you can't access Nike by You because if you customize it, they can't deliver it to you.
Charlie, Fire Stick is wearing us.
Right, so there are levels of personalization, even in terms of geographic region. That's how fine-tuned the online customer experience can become in terms of superiority, right? So let's customize one. Which one should we customize? Let me see. I have the Air Max 90, so I'm drawn to it, but let's do another one.
Okay,
let's do the 90. Let's do the 90.
90.
Okay, so let's do the 90 then.
Yeah.
Madam, please, 2090.
What's 2090? What's
Boy.
2090?
Yes,
I'm confused.
It's okay.
Okay, so here they give you 3 options, right? You can either do the one that is only 3 colors, right? Which is the blue, the black swoosh, and then the white base. You can customize only 3 portions of the sneaker. Then here you can customize up to about 4 or 5 different portions of it. And then this one is the red with the white swoosh and the base. So you can also customize that. So which one do we go for? The middle one, right? Because that one has more colors all over.
More colors, yeah.
Yes. And then you can be able to customize based on gender as well. So are you customizing it for a male or female?
Female.
Yeah, we know Val's Day is coming. It's okay.
Okay, so for the sake of Val's Day, let's do it female. What size are we doing? 10 or 10 and a half? Let's do a size 10.
10.
Yeah.
It's 11.
And then now let's go ahead and customize. Okay. So here they've given us the sneaker, right? We can customize everything from the base, right? So when you hover, it shows you which part of the sneaker it is. Right?
Oh, okay.
Good. So you can customize. Please a moment.
Okay.
So you can customize here the base, right? The overlay. You see the mudguard, the swoosh, the logo view, right over here. Then you can do the upper eye stay, these little things here. You can do the back tab, right? You can also customize the laces. Even the lining inside the shoe, you can customize it.
Boy.
The midsole wedge, the airbag down here, you can customize it. Then the outsole, then the backstab logo, then the tongue text or the logo here, what they have written over here, you can customize that as well.
Oh, okay.
So let's see, let's do the tongue text / logo. Okay, so that is over here, right?
Oh, okay.
So clicking on the text, what do we want to write over there? You have a maximum of 7 alphanumeric characters, right?
Vowels at 21.
You only have 7 characters, so
29.
2090.
Hey, we say
what?
Hey, what from this 29?
Okay, so what do we write?
29.
No, write fire stick.
We have only 7 alphanumeric characters.
Madam, 29.
MKTG 403.
No, it's too long. Abba.
Abdul Haq.
So what do we write?
Vow 2019.
Okay, so
29.
vow 20.
Vow 2019.
90.
90. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a cryptic meaning to this, but I don't want to know. So let's proceed.
Yeah, me self.
Right. So currently we have done the text on the right foot of the sneaker. What are we writing on the left foot? Or the same vow 29.
COVID-19.
Yes.
Let's do the same vow 2090.
Yeah.
Right? So look what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Hey, Ghana, that bang.
Hey, leave for the bang.
Everything. Let's do the backstab logo. Okay, so this is the backstab, right?
Yeah.
You can change the color.
Oh wow.
So we can do blue void. Rainforest.
University red. University red.
University red. There we go. Very, very obvious from a distance. Right, so let's keep it there. So we change the backstab color, right? And we can do that for all the different parts. Let's look at the airbag. Okay.
And so it's only today that I got to know that shoes have airbags too.
Yeah, the Nike Air Max have the airbag. It helps to cushion you when you walk.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to explain it. You can experience it, right? It's a very fun experience. And they are very
Madam, is it like the foot pad when you put it in your shoes to
good? And then it's like you're walking on foam.
Yeah.
Good. It gives you a spring in your step, so your foot doesn't hit the ground hard.
The ground hard. Okay, some comfort, something.
Good.
But now, they are producing technological ones like the Nike Mag and the Nike Adapt BB.
Yeah.
Hey.
Those are current shoes.
I have a fellow Nike lover in the house, right?
Wow. Plastic is coming for you.
Andrew, are you?
Right. So when you get the opportunity and then your data is stable, just go to Nike by you and have fun. Like.
Oh, okay. No. We just customize. We know that we are not getting it.
Yes.
If you know someone living in the US, you can pay for it and send it to them, and they will bring it to you.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes, the address.
Yes. So,
right. Yeah. So if you have relatives in the US, pay and then use their address. It will go to them, and they will bring it to you.
Oh, okay. I mean, Pat, are you in the US or?
Very funny, Derek. All right. Let's continue. Okay, so that is it for customization, right? And day in, day out, the technology is improving. So before, the Nike ID was very limited. Like we couldn't do all these things, including change letters and all that. We could just change like basic colors on certain parts of it. So when they upgraded and I saw they had done the Nike by you, I was like, yes, this is superior customer experience at its best because they are upgrading and changing with the times. And Nike is currently the largest sneaker retailer in the world, I believe. So kudos to them for being on the cutting edge, right? So that's it for the second C, which is customization. Now we can talk about the third C, which is community and participation. And here we are talking about the fact that we need to be able to create opportunities for the customers to engage and commune with each other because they expect it coming online. They don't expect to engage with you only when they are online. They want to be able to talk to other members of the brand community, other users who have experiences regarding your product, other users who have an opinion regarding the content that you post, to be able to interact and engage with them, right? So you realize that we have a lot of consumer retail and review sites where you have the opportunity to log in as a customer and engage with other users or other reviewers of the products or services. And it is in the best interest of the organization or the brand to also have a presence here, to be listening in, to be seeing the exchanges that are going on. That is why you will have an organization or a brand have links and tabs to social media on their main website. This is all to be able to encourage community and participation so that you do not have to struggle to go to their social media pages. They have put all the links down there for you. They want you to go there actively and meet other users, other community members, and exchange experiences and ideas, right? And this is not just limited to the B2C market. We can also see it in the B2B market where we have specialist communities that businesses go to get advice regarding the products and services that they should consume, right? And econsultancy.com is one of them. It provides forums and reviews which discuss issues that have to do with the supply of e-business services. So we realize that we have to create opportunities for community, right? Because if you do not build the communities will build themselves. So it's in your best interest to create opportunities for them to interact in these communities so that you can enhance the trust building between yourself and your customers. Again, when customers use the online medium, they expect convenience. That is why I do not understand when you say you are an online business and then I now have to call you and chase you to collect my item, and then you later ask me to physically meet you somewhere to collect it. That destroys the whole element of convenience of using the online platform for me. And I've experienced this on a number of occasions, right? So if you're an e-marketer, you should note that the customer is expecting convenience when they use your online platforms. So go ahead and make it easy for the customer to find, select, purchase, and in some cases, use your product from their desktop or whatever device they are using anytime, right? So this convenience includes also the customer being able to access your online platforms 24/7. It irks me so much when I go to a brand's website looking for a product and they tell me the site is down, site's under construction, this site has been hacked. I hate it so much because technically, to be able to ensure superior customer experience, you need to have someone on standby all the time, ensuring that firewalls are up. The website is consistently updated and protected so that no one hacks it. And this person should be responsible for ensuring that your server space is always paid for, so that the owners of the URL do not take the name back and you lose your website space. I've seen several times where businesses' websites are still online and you think that the site is accessible. You go there and it tells you that this site is no longer being used by the person. So annoying, but it's still in their advertising.
Location.
This does not help in any way to facilitate superior customer experience. So as e-marketers, we need to understand that customers expect convenience, and that is what we need to deliver. At the same time, too, with the 5th C, we can talk about the fact that customers' motivation for coming online is largely because they want to have choice. So as an e-marketer, it's in your best interest to provide customers with this choice. Even though you would rather you are the only option that they have, customers like it when you can pitch yourself against other options and be able to emerge as the best choice out of those options. So you realize that a lot of businesses, even though they have their own websites, are doing their best to engage with online intermediaries so that they can be able to pitch themselves against all these competing brands and convince the customer that they are the best choice out of the lot. So based on that, online intermediaries have become a huge success, especially in our part of the world, right? Where we have both C2C and B2B transactions taking place on these online intermediary platforms. Not because the original brands do not have their own websites or online platforms, but because they want to be able to feed on the consumer's need for choice, to be able to pitch themselves as the best option, right? And some of these intermediary sites include Tonaton, Jumia, Kelco. Kelco is a price comparison site. So, and it's largely available in the US. The same goes for Price Runner, which is another price comparison site. So you can just go there and compare prices for different products in the same category. So perhaps if it is a mobile phone, you can go there and look at all the different mobile phones with the different specs and the different prices that they are offered at by the different sellers to be able to make an informed choice, right? Jumia is also another example. So these give ample evidence of the consumer's motivation of choice for using the online platform and how we as e-marketers can capitalize on this motivation to give them a superior experience and then achieve our objectives as marketers eventually, right? And then the last C we can talk about is cost reduction, which we talked about in the 5S model regarding how customers expect to enjoy some form of cost reduction when they use the online medium to purchase products and services. So we as e-marketers must take cognizance of this and give them the best deals or the best value in terms of cost reduction when they are engaging with us on the online platform, right? So Abakuri now asks, how can we as e-marketers give customers the value of cost reduction online? Abakuri Nawaz, give us one example, unless you are ghosting. Because I always see you in my class, but you've never spoken before. So if you are not ghosting, kindly speak up now, or we will assume you are not in class. Abakuri Nawaz.
Yes, madam.
Abubakar Nawaz.
He has written Abakuri, Abdullah.
Yes, madam.
So what I'm seeing is what I'm mentioning.
It's about.
Is it Abakuri?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So Abakuri, how can we as e-marketers give customers value through cost reduction online?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. We can all hear you.
Madam, the question again.
How can we give customers value online through cost reduction? How can we reduce their cost using the online?
By giving them discounts when they
Okay,
purchase our products using the online platforms.
good. And that is one major tactic that a lot of brands have used to be able to drive more traffic to their online services as against their traditional services. So good, Abakuri. Any other example? Derek Binka says promo codes. Exactly, that's another very good example. You get promo codes when you shop online. Baba for, go ahead.
Free delivery on online purchase.
Free delivery on online purchase. That's another cost reduction, right? Thank you, Baba for. Juliana, your hand was up, or you're.
I wanted to say the free delivery, but
Okay.
yes, already.
Okay. Lawrence Pampong says MTN, for instance, gives 50% discount bonus for airtime recharge using mobile money. That's true. I've even used that service before, right? And then Abdul Haq says direct link to producers, cutting middlemen cost. Exactly, right? So instead of using middlemen, they can sell directly to you via their websites. Joaquin says Black Friday promo. Good, right? Another means of using digital or online platforms for cost reduction is by creating more opportunities to lower cost. So for instance, recently I just discovered that you can use your mobile money to pay for items on other mobile money platforms, like Vodafone Cash and then Tigo Cash. Who knows that? Yeah.
Yeah, now the platform is universal. So
exactly, because of the interoperability.
Yeah. Even to bank.
And I thought that was awesome, right? Superior customer experience at its best.
Yeah. Except for the charges part. You see, when you're sending to Vodafone and things, they take like 1%. It's something.
Yeah, but when you think about the convenience.
Okay,
remember we talked about the fact that the cost is not always in financial terms.
Yeah.
The cost could also be intangible. So it saves you the hassle of having to go and look for a Vodafone Cash vendor and give them the money. Good.
Money
transfer on your behalf.
True.
Good. All those are costs.
True.
Right?
Yeah, true. Thank you.
Okay. So that is it for the 6 S's, the 6 C's, of customer motivation, right? And how we as e-marketers can use it to deliver superior customer experience to our customers online. Now, another way we can do so is with our website design, right? Abdul Haq says convenience is expensive and consumers normally bear the costs. But when you think about it in the long run, I can't remember the last time I actually walked to a shop to buy certain things. I've been using the convenience of the online medium to do a lot of things. And right now, I don't even think about the cost implications anymore, because when I think of the convenience I'm enjoying, especially in this COVID era, yeah, lesser price to pay for comfort, Derek. That basically sums it up for me. So Abdul Haq, some of us, we prefer that to the hassle. Okay, so in terms of website design, right, we can talk about two main things. Being that an effective website design must include form and function, right? So when we say form, we are talking about aesthetics, which are created by the visual design of the site, right? And then when we talk about function, we can talk about how well the site facilitates interaction, navigation, as well as how well the site is structured. So we'll break this down into individual components of form and function, and then we will discuss them. And when we talk about aesthetics, we are referring to a combination of the graphics, the color, the style, the layout, and the typography, right? So a site with powerful aesthetic appeal can help communicate a brand's essential values, right? So when we combine these 5 items, being graphics, color, style, layout, and typography, we are able to create a unique personality for the websites that we have. Darius, you said expensive is variable because convenience brings more time efficiency. So for someone who values the use of time convenience, it will be cheap. I believe that's my case, right? Time is of the essence for me. My time is so valuable that I find convenience to be in this regard, as you are saying, cheap because of the time convenience. So thank you for adding that.
Stress.
Yeah. Right. I sit on Zoom for several hours a day, and I don't have time to be moving from place to place. So thank you, Darius. Yeah. So thank you, Darius, for adding that. Leila, are you hungry? Seriously, Leila, are you hungry? Tuesday double deal at Eddie's Pizza. That's what's on your mind, Leila. Please bring your mind.
Yes.
Bye-bye, Leila. Why?
Okay, let's continue. So in terms of aesthetics, we can talk about site personality. And like I mentioned earlier, you need to put a combination of items such that you communicate the unique personality that your site has, the way it would have been if you were describing a human being. So your site can have a personality that is either formal, fun or engaging, entertaining or professional, right? So we see a lot of the banks having this professional look, and we see a lot of the websites of all these fashion brands and makeup brands and sneaker brands, and having more of a fun, engaging platform, right? We saw the Nike website had a lot of graphics and a lot of colorful stuff and video. That was fun and engaging, right? So depending on the product or service that you're selling and the personality of you want to project, you need to be able to design your website to communicate that as well, right? So we can also talk about the site style, and this is either in terms of how information intensive the site is or how graphic intensive it is, right? And for me, I struggle when I go to sites and I see so much information that is so much cluttered that you don't even know where to look. So as e-marketers, in designing our websites, we need to be cognizant of the balance that we want to have between information and graphics. And even if you want your site to be more information intensive, you need to make the screen real estate be designed such that it projects more of an information depth and value to the visitor. Such that when I get there, even though there's so much information, because of the way the information has been positioned and structured on the site, I see it more as something of value than it being a cluttered mess that is distracting and it's not giving me what I need for coming to the site. So that is it for site style, right? We can also talk about, under aesthetics, visual design, Now the visual design is basically about establishing trust and setting the tone for future experiences. So visual design here is basically about having a balanced visual design that is not just visually appealing, but also enhances the accessibility, usability, persuasion, and branding of your site. So usability in terms of the site should not just be beautiful and have so many pictures and a lot of items in different places that it makes it difficult for us to locate important information or important tabs that will help enhance our experience, right? So in terms of visual design, you should aim for something that is aesthetically pleasing, has a good personality, and has a good structure. But this structure should be done in terms of how more accessible and usable and persuasive it makes the site. Because the main aim is to get the customer to enjoy their experience so that they will end up making an actual purchase using the site. Another thing we can talk about under aesthetics is color. And here we can look at the juxtaposition of warm and cool colors. We know that warm colors are a bit harder on the eyes compared with cool colors that are more calming and relaxing. So in developing a design for your website, you need to have a good combination of these two, preferably more cool colors, and then using the warm colors as accents to accentuate the cool colors, so that the customer who gets to the site will be engaged from the beginning and will not feel uneasy or uncomfortable viewing the site, right? And there are several examples of such sites. When we went to the Nike website, did you see the combination of colors? It was mainly black and white with some few accents of, I think I saw some yellow somewhere. And that was even in relation to a sneaker that one of the people in the videos was wearing. But the page was largely cool toned, such that it's aesthetically pleasing and you can stay on the site for a long time just browsing and you will not even realize that you have been there that long, because it is so comfortable and chill, right? Abdul Haq said mostly the website uses the brand colors. Yes, like UG website, they use the school colors as MTN uses the yellow color. But you realize that we use mostly the cool colors in our brand. So we use most of the blue. And then the gold in there, the yellow gold, we just use it as an accent at specific portions. Good. We use mostly the blue. So in as much as you are trying to be consistent with your brand in terms of color, you need to be cognizant of the warm and cool colors in your brand so that you can have a good balance and not end up creating a website that will be so glaring that your customers cannot even keep their eyes on the screen for a prolonged period of time. And that is bound to increase bounce rate. Because if I get to the site and I can't even view it for that long, I'll just bounce off to the next place.
Yeah.
And you do not want that. Okay. Moving on. We can also lastly talk about typography. And typography here refers to the use of fonts, right? Typography contributes a lot to the visual appeal of a site. Darius, you said this is why you love the Apple website, minimalistic and balanced. Exactly, just like the Nike website. You don't want your customers to be overly overly stimulated, such that they can't close their eyes. Their pupils will automatically dilate when they get to a site that is overstimulating like that with so many warm colors. Right. So thank you, Darius, for sharing with us. So in terms of typography, we can talk about things like using a consistent typography. So don't go mixing different fonts throughout the website. Some parts have Calibri, some parts have Times New Roman, sometimes have Garamond, some have Georgia, some have Abadi, some have what do they call it, Wingdings. It will be a cluttered mess, right? So choose one font and be consistent with it throughout the site. Also, limit the use of different font sizes, right? So some parts you have font size 12, some parts it's a font size 9, some parts it's a 10, some parts it's an 11. It makes reading difficult because you keep moving between these different font sizes and you have to readjust your eyes and your depth perception to be able to read appropriately, and it becomes uncomfortable. And when it becomes uncomfortable, the customer will just navigate off the page. Another thing we can look at in terms of typography is the juxtaposition of sans serif fonts versus serif fonts. So when we say sans serif fonts, these are fonts that do not have those extensions on the ends of the letters, right? Like Arial or Calibri. And the serif fonts are the ones that have those sharp extensions on their edges. Now, generally for websites and web activity and design, we recommend the use of sans serif fonts because those ones are easier on the eyes and they are easier to scan and read, right? So who knows an example of a sans serif font apart from Arial or Calibri? I just mentioned some of them. Sans serif fonts. Arial and Calibri are very popular ones. Sans serif. I just mentioned about 3 additional ones to Arial and Calibri. I'm going to name names. Andy Redu, sans serif font. Andy Redu, are you there or are you ghosting? Sans serif font. Andy Redu, Avenir, Helvetica, good. Andy Redu, you are not in class. Loretta, Andy is absent, he's ghosting. Proxima Nova, okay, good. All right, good. What about serif fonts? What about serif? There's a very popular one that we always use, the serif font. Moved on from sans serif, we are on serif. Northwester is
Times
serif.
New Roman.
Times New Roman. Thank you, Cassandra. That's the most popular serif font.
It's Rebecca.
It's Rebecca. Okay, sorry, Rebecca Quason. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you for that, Rebecca. Times New Roman.
Okay.
Yeah. Georgia is not serif. Georgia is sans serif. Kevin and Noma Etua. Georgia is sans serif. Garamond is also sans serif, Nadia. Nadia, Garamond is sans serif. Austin. Okay, I'm not familiar with Austin, but I presume it is serif. Okay, Tahoma is sans serif, Marlon. Okay, so please go and brush up on your font styles. Okay, then finally, in terms of typography, we want the text to be left justified, right? Because again, that is more legible, easier to scan, easier to read, and easier to copy, right? Okay, so that is it for aesthetics. Apart from aesthetics, we can also talk about page design. And here we explore the components of a good page layout. So what does a good page layout looks like? A good page layout has different page templates for the following key page types. There's a different page for the home page. So the home page should be different from the page where you have the products and the services. And these two should also be different from the page where you have the product subcategories and then the subcategory pages for other multiple products that you have listed. You need separate pages for these two. Then you also need a separate page for on-site search results, right? You know, there's a small tab on the home page that you can use to search. But once you enter a search term and you click search, it should direct you to another page separately where all the options for your search results will be listed. We also need different pages for the landing pages that we have for people who are coming through to our websites from our bot media. So if someone clicks on the Google AdWords you have bought, they should be able to be navigated to a separate web page. If someone clicks through from one of the referral links that you have, it should take them to a separate page. If someone clicks through from one of your banner ads, you should be able to take them to a particular page, right? Still on the issue of page design, we need to have content marketing pages, and these are separate pages where we post our content. Now, this is often missed by most brands. They would rather put perhaps a small widget on their home page for their content. So the widget could be in the form of perhaps a notice board or perhaps a video showing widgets that shows particular videos consistently, right? But to be able to do justice to content marketing properly on your website, you need to give it a unique page that is dedicated to it, right? And here you will share all the content you have in terms of resources, advice, entertainment, be it videos, quotes, memes. You can do all this on that page without having it interfere with what is happening on the other pages. You also need to have a social hub page, right? Where you integrate the feeds from your social networks and your social media pages, right? As well as updates from different networks. Then you need to have a separate page for your blog. Some organizations and brands have their own blog. So you need to have a separate page where you can do your blogging. And then you also need to have utility pages, right? So when we click the About Us tab on the home page, it should take us to a separate page that tells us all about your brand or your company. The Contact Us page too, once we click on the Contact Us tab, it should take us to a separate page known as the Contact Us page, where we can fill whatever form it is to give us, to give them our information, or for our customers to give us their information as a brand to help us contact them. Okay, so you need separate pages for these utilities, right? That's why they are calling them utility pages. And you also need clear navigation options to a range of content, services, and visitor engagement devices, right? So if you are on the home page, you need to have tabs that help you to navigate to the different individual pages. Oh, sorry, Lauren. Hopefully the video will be up soon, then you can be able to watch, right? So you need clear navigation options to take you to all these separate pages. At the same time too, you need to be able to have visitor clear navigation options to help visitors engage on the different devices that they have. So for instance, you go to certain websites and there's a tab you can click on if you are navigating using a mobile device, and it will automatically change the orientation of the website to suit your mobile device. Who has experienced that before? The website usually has a tab there So when you log on, it will initially appear like it is in the desktop format. And then they'll ask you to click on this particular link if you are accessing from a mobile device. And the moment you click on it, the site will become device optimized. Let me put it that way. Good, Darius. Good. So that is an example of giving navigation options to help visitor engagement on different devices. All right, now moving on from page design, we can also talk about content strategy and copywriting, right? So content strategy, like I mentioned earlier, is all about strategizing and planning the content that you put out. And here, a lot of e-marketers take this for granted, but you can't just decide to wing it and say, okay, I'll just post as and when. You need to have a strategy. So this strategy may involve anywhere from the kind of content that you post, to the days that you post this content, to the times that you post this content, to the periods within the day that you engage with your participants or customers using this content. All of these form part of your content strategy, right? Abdulhak, you said it detects the mobile automatically. Some sites do, but other sites give you the option of telling them what device you are accessing from. Okay. So in terms of content management, right, we can talk about content engagement value. So for content engagement value, we are referring to the types of content that will engage your audience. It's not just enough to just put any content out there, because customers are looking for relevant content. Remember, we talked about the 6 C's of motivation. The first one being content is king, and it has to be relevant and suited to the context. So you have to look at the engagement value of your content. Is it content that is going to talk about the product, giving information about the product, or going to give a guide to buying a product, or is going to be content that has to do with a game or a meme or any other form of content that you believe will engage your audience, bearing in mind that different forms of content are relevant to different segments of the market. So you need to know the segment you are targeting and the engagement value of that particular content you want to post for that segment. You also need to look at the content media, right? You need to have media that will facilitate the content that you put out on your platform. So your website should be able to facilitate plain text, rich media such as Flash, right? Or rich internet applications or mobile apps, right? Your website should also be able to facilitate audio, as well as hosted and streamed video, right? All of these things are content media that will help your website to be able to put out engaging content that is relevant to whatever segment it is that you are targeting. At the same time, so you can talk about content syndication, right? And here, content can be embedded into your site through widgets. Like I was saying, some websites opt for this option, and then they embed content on their home page and other pages that are supposed to be meant for other forms of information. However, you cannot do this because it becomes cluttered very easily. Because at that point, the customer will not know what to focus on. So you need to give the customer the option of being able to divert to a page that is dedicated to content, to be able to enjoy the full extent of the content that you are providing them. And then you will be able to enjoy the benefits of what you are sending out the content to achieve. So content syndication can be done on the particular page you dedicated to content on your site through widgets, right? Or different types of sites on your page, regardless of what you want to post. If you want to post it on one page, or you have separate pages for different forms of content, perhaps a page where you have all your videos, because perhaps there are a lot of them, and you do not want them to compete with other forms of content. You can do this through feeds, right? Or application programming interfaces, or basically direct submission by email. Just send the content directly to customers. Currently, what is the most common form of content that is sent to customers via email? You should know this.
Content, maybe receipt.
No, receipt is not content. Receipt is after you have purchased the product and they are sending you that one.
Okay.
Good. So, think quickly. Think. It's very common.
Discounts.
That's a very good form of content that is sent via email. Yes, you're right. Discounts. There's another one too. Apart from discounts, they send you something else. Promotions and discounts are the same.
Oh, yeah.
Discounts are a form of promotion. Another one. Usually when you go to their website, immediately you open the website, there's a pop-up that says sign up to receive our
newsletters.
Newsletter. Right? Newsletter. Well done, Derek.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or new arrivals. Good. Right? And the most common one these days is the newsletters and then the discounts or the promotions. Right? So you can also send it directly to them via email, and that is totally fine and even more targeted if you ask me. Then we also have content participation, right? It's not enough for you to just keep posting the content and then leave it there in a static form, expecting them to consume. You should be able to post the content and create it such that it engages them and makes them comment and leave ratings and reviews, right? And you shouldn't just leave these ratings and reviews to go dormant. You should be observing and monitoring them and managing them so that where you have to come in and respond to something, you respond accordingly so that they can know that you are engaging them and you are part of the conversation, right? Darius, you were locked out automatically. How did that happen? Because Darius, it's not from our end. So you need to check your device. I wonder how that happened. Please, he can't hear me. So can someone tell him to check his device?
Okay, so I'll send it to the group.
Yeah, ask him to check his device.
Okay.
Okay. So in terms of content participation, we have established that don't just post the content. Send the content out in an engaging form that will get a response from your users and your customers, getting them to comment, leave ratings, leave reviews. And then you should also go back and monitor these conversations such that you can manage the conversation where you have to come in and give your feedback. And then you can be able to ensure that whatever feedback you are getting, you are putting to good use. Right? So that's it for content participation. Then finally, we can talk about content access platforms, right? And this one we have talked about in several times at different levels of our discussion today. We are talking about the fact that various digital access platforms like desktops and laptops have different screen resolutions, including mobile devices as well. So you have to make sure that the content that you are putting out is designed to facilitate access on these different platforms. All laptops don't have the same resolution. While some are HD, some are HDR. Please, what does the HDR stand for? Well, I've always wondered. I've always wondered what the HDR stands for. So if someone can do the research.
It's high dynamic range or something.
Okay.
The range.
Good. Okay. Right, but we need to bear in mind that it's not every device that has this HDR. Some just have the basic HD that we have, and some are just the basic resolutions that we know.
Yeah,
right?
1080p 360 by 120.
Right, the pixels and the megapixels, they differ depending on the device that you are using, right? So we need to make sure that our content is optimized for access on all these different platforms, so that the person who is viewing it with this HDR, which is supposedly on a higher level, can get the value for what they are seeing. Abdul Haq, you said high dynamic range imaging. Okay, thank you for that. So it's high dynamic range imaging, right? So people who are using whether high dynamic range imaging or HD or the traditional one that we know before HD and HDR were even an option should all be able to view the content and enjoy it, perhaps not the same, but in a similar manner, so we can be able to achieve the objectives we hope to achieve by putting this content out, right? And with that, we've come to the end of the session. Lastly, I want to bring our minds to navigation and structure, right? And here we have talked about it already when we're talking about ease of use and accessibility and usability. Ease of use here captures the structure of the site, which we have discussed, the navigation issues, which we have discussed, the page layout, which we have discussed, and interaction, which we have also discussed, right? So navigation here describes how users can easily move from one page to the other using the navigational tools, menus, and hyperlinks. And under page design as well as structure, we have talked about how the brand can be able to design the website and make the layout such that it appeals to most people and makes it easy for them to use and makes it accessible to them, such that it even enhances the persuasion process for them to actually go ahead and use the website to purchase the product, right? Darius, I think it's your network. Sorry about that. Hopefully, when the video is up, you can be able to watch and then get the remaining part of the discussion. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, and on that note, we've come to the end of today's session.